While walking out the steps that you have planned for me, living by faith, a bright future I see. I won't be swayed by the obstacles that I face. For my victory is secure if I stay in the race. That's fine. I know that I know. Got to be so very close. Yeah. I just believe I must. So I'll go through it. I'll go through it. I'll go through it. I just believe I must be close to it. So close to it. Oh, so close to it. Why don't y'all help me sing? Sing with me. I'll go through it. I'll go through it. Oh, I'll go through it. 'Cause I know that I must be close to it. So close. Close to it. Oh, so close. Close to it. Yeah. As long as I'm with me, I'll get through it. I'm gonna get through it. I'll get through it. It may be hard sometimes, but you made me a promise. I know that I must be. And the promise is that I'm real close. Oh, so close. Close to it. Extremely close. Yeah. I'm gonna push through the obstacle, the trouble and the trial, through every struggle. You are close, closer than you think, closer than you believe. Keep on fighting, push through the obstacle. Public opinion, heartache and pain, lies and slanders. You're right there, oh so close. I just believe I must be close. God has me. I've been waiting, anticipating that I am close to what you have for me. Closer than close. I said closer than close. Y'all need to sing this with me right now. There's anybody out there that can lift up your hands and declare that I believe I am close to you. I've been waiting on so long. I've been waiting on so long. I believe that I am close to you. Oh, so close. I believe that I am close to what you have for me.
You are listening to Bitter Cup Media, where inspired, controversial conversation matters. Your broadcast will begin in less than 2 minutes. We thank you for joining, and remember, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another.
Talk to about and misunderstood. Yes, I've been lied on. But still, we've been made. Endure for a night. Lord, I'm glad. I still enjoy. After all. Everybody say, oh. The world didn't give it to you. This joy, the world can't take it away. Say, hey, have your hands up. Here we go. After all that I've been through.
This is Shanina Shumate from Oakland, California. You are listening to Bitter Cup Media.
Because the nighttime is the right time to have inspiring, controversial conversations that matter. It's time for Issues After Dark with your hosts, Donna Williams and Dion Evans. Issues After Dark is a deeper dive into today's breaking news, trending social media, and pop culture from a biblical perspective. Gather your thoughts, get your questions ready. Your hosts, Donna and Dion, will be taking your calls via the Bitter Cup Media Zoom line, as well as interacting with your social media commentary regarding today's topics. And now, Issues After Dark with Donna Williams and Dion Evans.
Back from a Super Bowl weekend. Issues After Dark Season 2.
Yes.
What episode is this? Episode 10?
10. Yes.
Season 2. Got to put this on my notes. Episode 10.
Yeah.
Donna Williams, Dion Evans, your host. We're glad to be here. Donna, how are you doing as you wave? How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Good.
I got my nap in.
Yeah.
I got to learn how to get my nap in and dinner in. I like do these half dinners, like half my dinner before the show and then the other half like after the show.
Yeah.
I need to get the whole thing in.
Absolutely. Before the show. It's a little late to be eating after the show.
I got home later than normal.
Yeah.
Kind of ran over at practice today. But yeah, I got home a little later than normal. Wasn't sure. And you know what's funny? Do you do this?
What?
Do you set an alarm?
For what?
For waking up?
For everything. No, I don't. I do now. There was a time when I didn't, but I don't trust my inner alarm clock anymore.
Let me tell you why I can't trust mine.
Why?
Because I wake up way before the alarm.
Oh.
But I wake up alarmed.
Yeah.
I wake up. I have no trust. If my alarm clock was God, it'd be, where is your faith? I have no faith. None. Now I know I said it. I know it's set.
Yeah.
But there's something about if I sleep too good, I think I slept past it. Now I'm up. I'm up in a panic. But I'm like, wait a minute. It would fail. Could it fail? It's not supposed to fail. And then I go and check it, and it's 10 minutes till it's time to go. But now I'm up.
Yeah.
Worst thing I can do is try to get that 10 minutes. You ever try to do that?
Yep. That's not a good thing.
All bad.
That leads to more than 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny when you set the alarm on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
What's kind of crazy about it is it isn't going to stop until you stop it. That's how I have mine set. Unless it'll keep on ringing, keep on talking, keep on doing whatever until I actually stop it.
It will. Yeah,
that's why I put it across the bed. So I have to literally get up to turn it off because that helps get me up. Crazy. All right, let's tell the people what we're going to be talking about today. It's season 2, episode 10, segment 1, weekend review. A lot of things have happened over the weekend.
Really?
And, me and you will go back and forth on the things we saw, we observed, and give quick commentary. And then in segment 2, we're going to, the bulk of our discussion is going to be on the subject Black Invisibility. Now, Donna, you're leading this subject. Tell us, give us some sneak peek into what we'll be discussing.
Well, I've been kind of ignoring this topic. Travis, is his name Travis? Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift have been the news all down through whatever. Their relationship, her flying to his games and eyes on her at the games and everything. But sneaking up behind that relationship thing is Travis Kelce's haircut. That suddenly there is this trending thing, this great commotion about his haircut, which started me to processing this whole thing about invisibility and how it's not seen until it's seen in a different place versus black visibility versus white visibility when it comes to certain styles, certain trends. So just started to do a little digging, going back a little bit into history and then bringing it forward and talking about it. May segue into something more than just a haircut, but it kind of starts there for me.
Well, it is Black History Month. And to me, Black History Month loses its steam every year. Losing steam.
Yeah.
Let me ask you,
yeah.
Can I ask you a question? When you were growing up and, Black history was robust, right? Did you ever hear about Chinese New Year in February?
No.
Can you help me understand where this is coming from? I'm not the only one crazy because I'm like, when did we start celebrations in Black History Month?
I thought it was later, but apparently I was wrong. It's right. It's right at it was Saturday. I think it's the entire week, but it started Saturday. Because they haven't had the parade in San Francisco yet, have they? They usually have the big.
They don't even have a Black History Parade. Now, it's funny. People talk about me a lot because I'm from you Oaklanders. Some of y'all talk about me a lot because I'm from Orange County. But every year, Orange County has a Black History Parade.
How about that? We
have a parade and we have a great big old gathering. And those of us who can, we all come home. And I love I wasn't able to go home this year, but I was able to live through the photos of those who were there. And it was joyous.
They do that in Palm. They do that in Palm Springs too. They have a big Black History celebration. Yeah. In the Palm Springs area every year.
Were you at Oakland? Were you at San Leandro? Were you at Richmond?
Maybe we're just missing it.
San Francisco.
Maybe we're missing it. Maybe there is one. We just haven't.
No, there isn't. Look, how you have a Black History Parade in any of those cities and we missing it?
I thought I remember seeing the Black Cowboys in a parade.
That ain't the Black History Parade. The Black Cowboys and everybody. They probably in the Lunar New Year Chinese parade.
Okay. I don't know.
So we'll do the weekend review. We'll come back. We'll do Black Invisibility Part 1, Black Invisibility Part 2. And I guess Black Invisibility can also be understood as Black appropriations.
Cultural appropriation, which segues into the conversation, not just about our things being appropriated, but what things are we appropriating that the African culture might say, hey, that has nothing to do with you. You're appropriating our thing.
Ooh, I never thought of that. Those in Africa talking about Black folks are that'd be it's funny you bring that up because today I was a little disturbed.
Yeah.
Walked to a Starbucks, saw a guy. He wasn't that far. He was far enough for me to be. It was too early to say, "Hey, what's up?" But I was dedicated to saying hello because he's the same complexion as I am. Wanted to say, "What's up, fellow?" You know, brother of ebony hue, and he wouldn't lift his head. It's 2024, man. 2024. We don't get to see each other that much. So when we see each other, let's at least head nod up or head nod down or what's up with the head. Something. He wouldn't even look up.
We ain't kinfolk.
Then I realized
you're not African.
He was African.
And you're not.
And I was like, does he see himself in America very different than I? And does he, being a freeman in this country, does he look down on the sons of slaves? And then I just got to wondering, what are we ever going to have a real conversation with African and African American men on how we actually interact and what is our duty to one another? I mean, one of us come over here against our will and the other came over here voluntarily. And it seems like the propaganda machine has made one, though the same complexion, feel supreme to the other.
They believe the same PR that everyone else who comes over from another country believes. And when I say they, I know that's a broad, a broad statement. Not everyone, but again, I've read articles where there have been people who are African take they don't like us calling ourselves African Americans because we're not African.
Really?
Yeah,
I'd love to hear that argument.
There's some conversations out there. I've just read it and thought
Malcolm X would go off on that. He would go off on the thought that blacks in America are not African.
You're not purebred.
Well, I mean, do you know why?
Yes, we know why, but should they care why?
Yes, they should care. That's part of the problem.
Well, there you have it.
How are you from the continent and don't care? That's disturbing, Donna.
I'm painting with broad strokes. I'm not saying that all Africans feel that way.
No, I know you're not saying all Africans. I will say this, and I've been working on the show with this too. I've been looking for like African women cosmetologists. Because I'm like, why are y'all wearing European weaves in Africa?
Why are they lightening their skin?
Yeah, why are you what is influencing that?
Yeah,
on the dark continent. I mean, I know we know little Kim in America done gone, a little cuckoo with her skin, but she can't be that famous in America that she's got a continent of women.
Okay, let me call you out. You just said something that they might not like.
I don't care.
The dark continent.
I love the dark continent.
But that's a colonialist term.
You know why I call it the dark continent?
Why?
Because that's where the dark folks is from. I take pride.
But that's not why it's called dark continent.
I don't care about what somebody else called. I'm telling you why I call. Don't judge me by somebody else's definition.
Intent versus impact, Dion.
Well, my intent is greater than somebody else's impact. I love the phrase the dark continent.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. A lot of light out of that darkness. A lot of light shining in it, and a lot of light shining out of it. I love it.
Indeed.
And I'm from there. I can't tell me I ain't African. I ain't African, but I'm.
Well, yeah. You ain't African.
I'm more African than I'm just. Great. We'll be right back with Weekend Review on Issues After Dark.
Yeah.
In the morning, when I rise, in the morning, in the morning, I want to rise holy, I want to rise holy, I Keep the beat. You think the only time we sang this song was in church, like a testimony service, at a happy time. But we actually sang this song at her mother's funeral. My grandmother, Big Mama, she's in heaven. But the only way we could go through that grief was to think about the morning when we rise. This is my oldest sister. That's one of the first songs I heard her sing. They call it a congregational song. This happened in testimony service. Usually somebody would testify, and then they start singing this song. She was about 10 years old maybe when she sang it. She's somewhere around 67 now. No, I'm kidding. She's the first one baptized in the Holy Ghost in our family. Why don't you take a little bit of it, baby? Sing it in the morning.
Cry Jesus, not me, 'cause I throw hands.
It's Issues After Dark, Season 2, Episode 10. Donna Williams, Dion Evans, and we're going to be getting into it with you. Those of you who are the third co-hosts, go ahead. If you're listening, make sure you drop your comments so we can add your thoughts to the broadcast and make it do what it do. Because that's all that really matters. Us having engaged conversations over controversial subjects and make it make sense. Can we do that? All right. Donna, let's get into the weekend review part. I found about 6 things dominated my weekend.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we can go back and forth.
Okay.
I'll start with the one that is most controversial.
Which one?
The Super Bowl halftime show with Usher.
Ugh.
I thought it sucked.
I thought so too, but I thought it was my generation. I thought it was just not. There was no high energy. There was no dynamic.
My generation, the generation under me, I think those who grew up with Usher, who was singing his songs when they were too young to actually be singing them songs.
Yeah,
they loved it.
I saw that they were just so excited about it. I'm like,
it was not worthy of a Super Bowl, and I didn't have any problem with Usher performing because I thought he would do really some high energy stuff and bring some people out. And then it dawned on me like halfway through his performance, if I'm watching football and I'm playing music in the background, would I ever put on an Usher song? No. Then I thought, why is he even doing the Super Bowl? No, when we think of Usher, we don't think of the Super Bowl.
I saw a statement by him that he was showing that regardless of your age, that you can remain relevant. You can put out new music.
So what's that got to do with performing at the Super Bowl?
Well, 45-year-old performs at the Super Bowl and comes out with this fantastic and can still do. I thought his moves were not as dynamic as they once were,
45?
but that he's 45. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe it was a good show for a 45-year-old.
Well, that was his,
most pop. Now there are some parts of it I like, but as a
Yeah.
show overall, not Super
Yeah.
Bowl worthy to me. Not even in the top 10 for me.
Yeah, I just thought it was me. I thought it was my generation.
No.
Because you know what I did? I don't have cable. So I went on, don't listen. I went on to one of the streaming platforms for the trial period to watch the halftime show because I expected it was going to be, woo, this is something you don't want to miss. And I was so disappointed in it all. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
But
Give me one of your weekend reviews.
Okay. So we're going back to the Usher halftime show. A well-known drummer, respected Grammy winner, had worked with like Ariana Grande and with Usher, passed away a few months ago. And in Usher's show, there was a drum kit empty in homage to this drummer who had worked with Usher. And I thought that was so wonderful to bring the memory of this, because he was I think he was 47. This man who was well known in the music industry.
Okay.
Well known, and he had two sets of drum kits on the stage. One had a drummer, one did not have a drummer, and that was homage to the memory.
That's a classy move. That's
very classy move. Very classy move.
Yeah. The Super Bowl in and of itself was the highest viewed event since the moon landing.
Oh yeah.
100.
How about that?
123.4.
Wow.
123.4. Yeah.
No, that's
You got me to thinking, can you imagine what would happen if we landed on the moon in 2024? You didn't see the moon landing, did you?
I did.
You did?
I did.
Oh. I took a gamble and I wasn't sure.
All of that. I mean, the dog that the Russians sent to the moon. Yeah.
You saw the moon landing. Okay, now here real quick. What was that like? What was the lead up to that light?
There was so much talk about it, what this would mean and how this would be. And it was just, the anticipation of seeing what that would. What did the moon look like? Mm-hmm. Will we beat the Russians again this time? Because the Russians had sent a dog and then they sent an astronaut. And so it was this race going on. We had conversations in the classroom about it. Yeah. But you know what? It was, what did that mean to me? I was going to say nappy-head girl in Texas.
Ain't nothing wrong with nappy-head girl in Texas.
That, it was a moment in time.
I would love to see it happen again.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like we've gone backwards. Gone backwards.
Elon Musk, send us to the moon. Not me in particular, not me or Donna, but let's go to the moon. Let's land some folks on the moon, let them walk around a little bit, see what we see. That'd be big time TV.
I don't want to go.
That's better than reality TV. That would be wow. All right, Donna, give me one of your weekend thoughts.
There was a shooting at Joel Osteen's church.
Oh, there sure was.
A woman walked in.
I don't like Joel Osteen. Mm-hmm. I believe there's a lot of problems with his ministry. Mm-hmm. But I don't like that there was I don't like that there was a shooting in his church. I don't like that at all.
She doesn't seem to have a connection to the church. She got in the church with an AR or whatever it was, 15. Yeah, she got into the church.
Yeah.
Yeah, and started to shoot, but there were two off-duty policemen that shot back, but injured her son. She had her 7-year-old son with her. And injured her son.
I don't know what that's all about. I know I read an article talking about she sprinkled something on the ground.
Yeah.
I think her AR-15 had Free Palestine on it or something like that.
Yeah.
Hardly a reason. I mean, whatever her Palestinian or Israeli conversations or thoughts are, had nothing to do with Joel Osteen's church.
No.
And this happened in between services.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like
it. something in the article said they thought maybe her mother had attended the church at one time, and she had aliases that were male and female, but she always identified as female, even though she would use male aliases in previous times.
Wow.
So it's just a mystery there, all of that.
Yeah, it just where are the sacred places, Donna?
There does not.
I was talking about that earlier with Letitia, sacred places. And she said, I listed like 4 or 5 sacred places. And she said, schools. I said, I didn't even think about that one anymore. That one ain't been sacred in so long. I don't even consider schools sacred place. Remember when Columbine happened, the first time we had this quote unquote mass shooting?
Yeah. Yeah.
That let off a spirit in this country that this country it just can't shake. I'm not sure this country wanted to shake it. Might have been inviting it the whole time. Interesting.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Here's probably my biggest highlight of the weekend.
Yeah.
Letitia PR'd in the 100 meters.
Come on, Letitia. Yes.
She PR'd. Yes. I have to have her on the show to tell you all of the behind the scenes of her PR. That ain't for me to say.
Okay.
But let me tell you, after she PR, we was like, what? What just happened? It was. I just stuck with she PR'd. She PR'd. Her PR now is 17.19. She's getting close to going sub 17.
That's
looking good. She's looking good.
All right. Keep it up. It
is incredible to watch her run as her coach. You know, I'm her husband. When I'm coaching her, Ain't no husband involved. But because I'm her husband, there's some insight to her facial expression, her movement that allow me as the coach to talk to her a certain way. And on her second run, she really pushed herself. And when I looked at the stopwatch and saw that she had PR'd, I was like, it took everything for me to keep my composure because I didn't want to let her know with my facial expression how well she had did. I like her to go look at her phone and then see the numbers posted in her phone in her privacy and have that moment to herself. Did very well.
Good.
She did very well.
That is good.
All right, yours.
Well, 2 things. I don't know what football game it was at, a basketball game, that Beyonce came out in a cowboy hat and a cowboy outfit, right? She had a cowboy hat on, and I'm like, why is she dressed like that? Well, it turns out that Miss Knowles is putting out country western songs. She already released 2 country western songs. And of course the Beehive is thinking she's gonna come out with an album. I kind of have an issue with it. Not that she doesn't have the right to do country western song.
Especially since country western just hijacked Tracy Chapman's fast cars.
Okay, but here's my concern.
Okay.
There are women in the country western industry, African American women. One woman by the name of Mickey Guyton, who is getting some visibility, and I'm feeling like with Beyonce stepping into this genre, that now all they have to say is, "Hey, we got Beyonce. We don't need y'all."
Wow.
That's my concern. That's just a personal concern.
Is it possible that Beyonce is shining like? Because I don't know nothing about no black country western singers.
Oh yeah, look up Mickey Guyton. She's really good. She's
Mickey?
My daughter's Guyton, Guyton. She has
One of her father's a pastor.
My daughter has played for her a couple of times, and she was on one of the country western programs, awards program. She sang on there. Now, there was Charlie Pride, and then the guy from Hootie and the Blowfish has gone country western.
We always country western.
Darius Rucker,
Little Rock, a little country western.
And there are, some that are trying to make a name in the industry. I'm not surprised. I don't think that anyone should be surprised that country western is a little racist. That genre, that community, a little conservative, a little. This is, y'all don't have no place here.
Conservative.
Nothing wrong with conservative.
Depends on how you do it.
Unless your conservatism says you don't belong here. you're not like us. We're better. You stay over there on your side.
That ain't conservatism. That's racism.
What is that? Well,
Racism.
yeah. Well,
We got to stop letting
conservative.
we got to stop letting things be called. We got to stop letting racist be labeled as conservative.
Yeah.
Because truth be told, most black people in this country are not liberal. They're conservative. No. But they call themselves liberal because people have made conservatism sound like racism. Not the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not
so anyway,
same.
that's my thing with Beyonce. Yes, you can go into that genre, but will you shine the light on the other men and women in that genre to lift them up as well?
Hopefully she does that.
Yeah.
Hopefully she does that. Hopefully she can pull that off. If that's her purpose. I mean, I don't know
if that's her purpose. I don't,
All right. This guy doesn't learn. Donald Trump. He's asking the Supreme Court to tell DC he's got immunity. The DC court said, no, Mr. Former President, you cannot do whatever you want to do as a president and claim immunity. We are a country of laws and you must abide by the laws.
Yeah.
So last week he was told he doesn't have immunity, and that hurts all of his cases. Hurts him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now he's asking the Supreme Court, where he has appointed a good number of them, he's asking them to now grant him to say that he actually has the immunity that he says he has or believes he had during the time he was committing crimes in the name of president. Have you been paying attention to his argument on immunity lately?
No.
So what he's saying is, if I committed a crime while as president, whatever crime that is, I, Donald Trump, the servant, the civil individual, cannot be held liable because when I committed my crime, I committed it as the president. Therefore, I committed it in the interest of the American people. So his argument is the reason why I did what I did, all this voter stuff that I did wrong, I did it as the president because I was trying to protect democracy.
Yeah.
This is his argument.
Trying to protect democracy,
and
as
he
he's
had no
working hard
doing it because he believed he could do anything he wanted to do, having immunity.
As
he believes he has no accountability to anybody. Now you understand a man who thinks like that, and I'm gonna say it, Donna. I'm gonna say it. Don't want to say it, but I gotta say it. If he is not in jail or found guilty, which will null and void him by the election, he will be president.
Yeah.
Democrats have no plan. They have no strategy. And Joe Biden is not going to be the one. The energy, people do not hate Trump as much as they hated Trump in 2020. He is going to be president simply because the Democrats have done nothing to cause their base to come out and vote for who they already have in there. He's going to be president again. All right, give me another one of yours.
I love the Super Bowl commercials. I love this. That's the only reason I really pay attention to this commercial. So I had two that were my favorites. One was the State Farm with Arnold Schwarzenegger, who couldn't say neighbor. Okay. He kept saying neighbor. He kept saying neighbor. And so every time they'd have to do another take, neighbor. And then at one time he was in the middle of some sheep and he went neighbor and the sheep went bad. He said, that was the sheep. That wasn't me. And finally at the end, Danny DeVito is on there with him. And so Arnold Schwarzenegger says, like a good, and Danny DeVito says, neighbor, State Farm is there. And Arnold Schwarzenegger said, you're a backstabber. You're a backstabber. So that was funny to me because they kept trying to get him to say it bar, and he kept saying neighbor. The other one was J-Lo, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, and Tom Brady. Ben Affleck breaks in on J-Lo's recording session to prove that he has it. And this is a Dunkin' Donuts commercial, and Matt Damon is like, I don't know why I agreed to this, and Tom Brady is all for it. So it's just the funny at the end, and J-Lo says, I told you don't do this. Don't do this. Then he walks out all dejected, and Matt Damon is like, I don't know. Why? I owed you one. This is the one.
There was a lot of celebrities in the commercials.
Oh, yeah. Lots of Tina Fey.
I didn't have anyone that particularly jumped out to me, though.
Those two I liked. The other, there's one with Christopher Walken that must be a story. It's not just part. There's a story.
Oh, no. The Christopher Walken was a bunch of people saying lines that he said from movies.
I thought that's what it was.
Yeah.
I thought that's what, and he's going like, yeah, okay.
I didn't understand. Right. I didn't like the Beyonce one for Verizon.
I didn't see that one.
She's trying to break. So she breaks the internet, but she can't break Verizon. She's doing all these different antics to try to break Verizon. They keep like, yeah, close, but no. And she just doesn't do it. And so finally she's doing something in space, and then she says at the end, "Can y'all get me down from here?" Something like that.
They paid her, I heard, $31 million to do that.
Verizon?
Mm-hmm. Wow. And so there are memes out there like Verizon raising the rates in order to recoup the $31 million they paid. They paid to be on.
Commercial was like a minute. So that was a good 14 mil just in. They probably did close to, that's probably a $50 million hit.
Well, since their numbers up, there you have it.
All right, I got one more weekend review. Donna videos. I saw your video on affirming yourself.
Yes.
You had this video was during a time. This must have been during
the pandemic. Yeah, it was during the pandemic.
You had an afro with gray edges.
Yes, I did.
And you was affirming your natural.
Yeah.
And but I thought it's going to be good for and watch it. I thought that's going to be some good material for Thursday's broadcast. Yeah. We talk about that whole idea of dwarfing yourself to to fit in with the immature,
Yeah.
I forget the title that I gave it, but Pastor Wayne is going to moderate so that you and I can really kind of just be us, and he'll moderate us back and forth.
Oh my goodness.
I did not like your video on 2 followers and 3
posts. That's all you got? No.
I look like I'm thirsty.
Blocked.
If they don't have a picture, I get it. But if they have a picture,
no, you have 2 posts and 3 followers. What? Why all of a sudden you decide? Yeah, no. Well, get started with someone else.
There was a time where you had 2 posts and 3 followers.
Well, get started somewhere else.
I thought it was funny. I have no idea why you sent them, why you made me know of them, but I listened to every inch of it.
Yep.
I thought the affirming yourself. I was like, wow, she talked about this during the pandemic. We talked about it last week with Dr. Lakeith Long, and it's been really growing. And I have found myself, I've been finding myself paying attention to the things I tell myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like getting up in the morning, like, oh, I'm so tired. Well, man, why didn't you just say, Lord, thank you, I'm alive?
Absolutely.
I've been catching myself. And your video on affirming yourself, it kind of helped out with that. Like, hey, why not? You're gonna always default to something negative if you've gotten to that space.
Absolutely.
Why not just affirm some of the positive? Just you don't have to be miracles, just some simple truth.
Yeah. Just be grateful. Yeah. Be grateful. Thank you, Lord.
I found that pretty powerful. Yeah. But I did like the afro with the gray edges. I liked it.
Okay.
All right, let's go. Great. We come back on the other side, and we're going to get into Black Invisibility.
Okay.
truth. They call me Don Truth. It's like, say 1, 2, 3. If the Bible was rewritten and the writers put me in it, I wonder how my life would read. With the people that have heard of me, read just to learn of me, be turned away by what they see. But what they slumping their sofas, blown away and sober, but my life didn't come to believe. But what they do at once over, read the pages of my life and once it's over, close the book and say, that's not how I want to be. But that's a sad commentary when I'm buried under the public can see. But I pray that they remember me for walking in integrity, being what God called me to be. And if I leave an impression, man, I hope that I impress them with a life that was clean and free. And I pray that it's not embarrassing when they read my narrative. Once I finally do leave, let's go. Am I more like Cain for the pictures of my brother was slain? Or am I more like Jezebel, affliction in all my ways? Am I more like Mary, pure holy till I lay in the grave? Or am I more like Abel, for the police cover my ways? It's rewritten and the writers put me in it. What would they say about my private life? What would they say? Would they say that my commitment to the ministry was strong, but that I never spent time with my wife? What would they say about my character? Would they say I was arrogant and American, full of myself? How would they write about my parents? Would they say about traveling with my children up on the shelf? Would it be positive or negative if everything I ever did was jotted down and read by all? I ain't just talking about the stuff that you can see out on the surface, the stuff that was done in the dark. Well, if the boss could talk when the doors were slack, would they say that I was off the chain? Or would it be the complete opposite? Would they say my public and my private life were all the same? Am I more like Cain for the pictures of my brother was slain? Or am I more like Jezebel, sexual in all my ways? Am I more like Mary, pure holy till I lay in the grave? Or am I more like Abel, but my knees cover my waist? It's rewritten and the writers put me in it. Who would they say that I resemble the most? Who would it be? Joseph or Samson, both of them handsome. Only one of them was a symbol of hope. Or would I be listed among the greats, mentioned among the saints in the hall of faith? Would I have to be scripted as one of the base, like the product of my own mistakes? Now I know that it's not possible. Rewritten, and I wonder how my life would read. From 2 years old to my funeral, but I fail, would I succeed? Cause when they read my biography, caught about the life and times of man, it means a lot to me. Cause in the story that I leave them, I am either God's leader or picture, but not to be. Am I more like
Issues After Dark, Season 2, Episode 10. Donna Williams, Deion Evans, your host. We're going to get into it. It's Black History Month. We always, drop a little more color during February, but we do different color all throughout the year. Now, you wanted to lead this conversation. I think it's going to be the one I'm following. Let's get into it. Black Invisibility, Part 1.
This came up in my head when I finally paid attention to the trending topics about Travis Kelce's fade haircut. And I looked at the picture and thought, what's the big deal? This is something that's been in our community forever and a day, even with the high top fades, right? I'm like, so I started to pay attention to it and to process it. And it took me back to 1979. There was a movie, 10, with Bo Derek. And in the movie, she's running down the beach. She has braids and little balls in her hair. And suddenly that hairstyle is, oh my gosh, Bo Derek braids is what they were called. And black people are, wait a minute. Those braids are not new in our community. Why all of a sudden are you calling them Bo Derek's braids? I found a article where they asked her about this, I think in 2015. And in 2015, she said, it's a hairdo, that's all, which is exactly what we always, what they always say. It's just a hairstyle. What's the big deal? Why are you so upset? And of course, it was about cultural appropriation as far as black people were concerned. You are taking from us and claiming it as your own. In 2020, she said, and this kind of irked me a little bit, back then it was different. You know, they were all in an uproar about the braids and about the cultural appropriation. But now Black women come up to me and thank me and tell me, because of you, I can wear braids at work. Excuse me? Have you paid attention to in 2020? In 2020. Have you paid attention to the headlines?
She's nothing to do with the Crown Act.
No.
Nothing.
That's what she's saying.
Wow.
Because of you, we can now wear well, no, but it's still an issue. The little girl, I can't remember if it was a cheerleading team or gymnastic teams, where her teammates had to take the beads out of her braids because they wouldn't let her perform with the team, or the young man wrestler that they cut his dreads because he couldn't wrestle, or the 18-year-old boy who's still dealing with the school saying his dreads, his locks don't fit the school code, and so he's been suspended. And
matter of fact, they just went to court last week.
Yep. But it's just a hairstyle. It's just, what's the deal? And I'm like, no, it's more than that. Why is it?
You say Bo Derek said Black women coming up to her, thanking her? 2020, 2 years ago.
Yeah, 3, 4, almost 4 years ago. 2020 interview. Wow. Where she said, and I'm like, that's not a compliment. That's kind of like a savior mentality going on there, white savior mentality. I saved you by wearing these braids, so now you can wear them. And I'm like, no, that's not good. But Travis Kelce comes along with the face.
What year was that Bo Derek wore those braids?
1979 in that movie.
1979.
In that movie. 10.
Has Bo Derek wore braids since 1979? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Not publicly.
She wore them after the movie. She wore them after the movie. She went to a resort or something and, got all the pushback and the flack. Well, just here lately, and I don't know when Kim Kardashian said this, but when she got box braids, she said she got Bo Derek braids.
Wow.
So, but again, if you don't have to see it, it's not an issue for you. I came across a book about the soul of white jokes, humor being used as a tool for white supremacy. And they talked about a meme with Obama in it when he was president. And there were so many memes, but this one is like a dollar bill. And there's a headshot of Obama on there, and around him, there's watermelon, there's Kentucky Fried Chicken bucket, there's Kool-Aid. And a woman who sees it thinks it's funny, little old lady, puts it in a newsletter, sends it out, but someone gets wind of it and it becomes newsworthy. And so they're interviewing people. Do you think this is racist? Do you think this is racist? And one woman says, no, it's not racist. I eat fried chicken, this white woman. I eat fried chicken. I eat watermelon. I eat ribs. And as I'm listening to her, I'm thinking, but yeah, your eating it does not have the stigma attached to it that white supremacy has attached to it for us.
Right.
It's all of that. It's all of that. So this idea of invisibility, of not being seen. Did you read the book, The Invisible Man?
Yeah.
The reason why he calls himself invisible is not because he's invisible, but it's because people refuse to see him.
Mm-hmm. That's like in the opening chapter.
Yeah. So
I'm not invisible because I lack flesh, I lack blood. He says I'm an invisible man simply because you refuse to see me.
You refuse to see me.
Yeah.
And that comes down to the styles and the hair, the whole idea that you don't see it. And it's another article I saw. You don't see it until it's on a white head.
Do you think, Donna, that maybe they can't see it until it's on a white head?
Yeah.
Because I don't. The Travis now, to Travis Kelce's credit, he didn't do Bo Derek.
Right.
Bo Derek was like, what's the big deal? Whatever. Travis Kelce was like, hold on, why y'all trying to do that to me on February 1st? He pushed back. He said, don't do that. Don't do that to me.
Yeah.
He said, and on February 1st, he was conscious that this is Black History
Black
Month.
History Month. There you go.
Ain't gonna take this hairstyle and heap it up on me like as if I'm the one that created this hairstyle, this haircut.
Yeah.
So I'm appreciative that he had that level of cultural sensitivity. Having said, why do you think people saw his haircut and it became a big deal when they are walking around men with this haircut? Their heads just happen to be darker. Well,
Yeah.
what help me understand?
Well, he's a celebrity and he's dating a celebrity and his team is in the Super Bowl and he's high profile. And suddenly like, oh, I want to be like him. You know, that I want to be like Mike in reverse. I want to be like him. Look at his hair. Isn't that something? Man, he's starting a style. Let's get in with the trend. Forget about the people you've worked with, the people who have served you or who have been in your space at some point in time with the very same haircut. But because, and let me just say this, because you give no value to the person wearing the haircut, you give no value to the haircut. You give no value to the style. It is just, it's not valued until it is. Well, let me back up. Simone Biles is married to a football player.
Yep.
She's
married.
at all of his games. Married. She's at all his games. She gets no kind of high profile anything the way that Taylor Swift gets it.
Well, I mean, she's not as, though those of us who know Simone Biles in sports, she is far more decorated. But when it comes to mass appeal, pure numbers, there's nobody touching Taylor Swift.
But why? But yeah. Now that part, yes. But
nobody,
why aren't our numbers there?
And
why?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, but why aren't our numbers there for Simone? I don't mean in the same
Taylor
numbers
Swift
as Taylor.
The people who know about Simone Biles already watch the NFL. The people who follow Taylor Swift came to the NFL before Taylor Swift did.
They just started.
They just started. So when they're talking, I mean, early on, like week 3, they were talking about the NFL owes Taylor Swift some money because, you know, she single-handedly has made football famous, going to the games. Well, to the Swifties, that would be true.
Yeah.
But what I didn't like is that the NFL for 16 weeks ran with that narrative.
Oh, yeah.
But why not? Because
follow the money.
You got all these young women, these Swifties, wanting to do what Taylor does. So if Taylor watch football, they gonna watch football. Good happens to the ratings. The ratings goes up. I just told you the Super Bowl had 132.4 million.
Wow.
Highest rated since the moon landing. And what was all the talk? She finished her concert. Will she be able to get on a plane and get to the Super Bowl in time to watch her boyfriend? And she did.
Follow the money.
She did. Now, I thought they was going to force Usher to have her come on stage. Do not be surprised if Taylor Swift is headlining the Super Bowl next year. If Taylor Swift is headlining the Super Bowl next year, it will break records, especially if Kansas City is back in it. It'll break records. And I mean, I feel kind of sorry for her because she is talented. Yeah, she's got a pretty good sound. She doesn't deserve the ridicule that she's getting.
Right.
And remember how she came on the scene.
Country Western. But before that,
here's what's funny. These same people who like Travis Kelce, they like Usher. They've seen Usher before. They know Kanye West.
Yeah.
These same people who watch Travis Kelce, they know what Jay-Z's head looked like before he did what he did with his hair.
Right.
That's what all those artists have in common.
What is that?
Same haircut.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting at, to your point, is it's amazing to me that the people who are so excited about Travis Kelce's haircut had access to Usher. Never noticed his haircut.
Yep.
They love them some Kanye.
Mm-hmm.
They love Kanye.
Yep.
Same haircut. They love the Jay-Z and Kanye collaboration. Same haircut.
Yep.
Why is it that the haircut on a black man was ignored, and yet it was that same haircut was highlighted when a white dude did it, who is totally influenced by men that I just named?
Which circles back to the question that's implied in the invisibility topic is, why are we invisible? Not just on that stage, but in many areas of our lives where Black people are a part of a community, a work community.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why the invisibility? Why the?
I don't think you can afford to see. I think people who render us invisible, it's because they see our skin and they have something in them that when they see our skin, they do not see humanity.
Yeah.
They do not see humanity. They do not see equal.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. No, we're Donna, we're in 2024.
Yes.
2024.
Yeah.
And we're still having these conversations.
Well, think about the Civil Rights Act was what, 65? How many years was that? 55 years ago?
No,
there are some people 65 and 55.
69, close to 69 years.
Oh yeah, 69, 50, 65. Yeah, 69 years. There are people who are just turning 69 this year. It was not that long ago that act went into place, and we are still being rendered invisible, being muted, being seen and not seen.
Here's my question. You can't make people see you.
No, you can't.
But they will act upon you with what they do see. So if all they see is your complexion, but they do not see you, how are you human to them? How are you human to somebody who refuses to see you because the complexion of your skin doesn't cause them to feel it is all that important to see you in the innermost? I know for those of you who are listening, our brothers and sisters in the Lord who are truly saved, and you just happen to be, you're not Black, don't get offended. We ain't talking about you.
Right. We're not.
You are not the standard. Because you're saved, you can see us because you're saved. But if you're not saved, chances are even the Black people you see them as a pet. You don't see them as human. I'm just being honest.
Or as different.
Or as a charity case whereby you believe you're making their life better because you've taken it upon yourself to be in their life. Like there's no way they could be better than you, but the quality of their life got better because you happen to be arm in arm with them. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So the question that comes to mind is that because of this invisibility, and we've had this conversation before, and the conversation goes on, how does that impact me? That goes back to Dr. Joy DeGruy's post-traumatic slave disorder syndrome. How does that impact me emotionally? How does that impact me psychologically? Every time I'm invisible, not just I'm invisible overall, but every time I'm invisible, every time I'm muted, what does that do to me? How do I navigate that? Do I go underground like the Invisible Man who eventually decides?
Do I say something controversial?
Well, go ahead.
Donna, half the Black people, I'd say over half in this country, they're not impacted at all.
Yeah.
They don't know themselves enough. They know racism exists, but they don't believe racism exists institutionally or collectively because they've had enough white people in their life to be nice or smile and grin at them. to the point that they no longer believe that it is an issue at the level that it is an issue. And you know, they get these continued stories like we do about cops killing unarmed black civilians.
Yeah.
And they see that as, oh, that's accident, or that's just that city. That's not in the DNA of police forces all over the country. I don't think it really impacts. I don't think the majority of black people in this country who are experiencing racism, which is all of us, but I believe the majority of our brothers and sisters in this country are more concerned about how they are respected by other black people than they care about the racism that is marginalizing their life.
That
so
ties
you're invisible to white people who will discount you. It will discount your humanity with their mindset, even if they're not even conscious of their mindset. And then you got black people you're competing with for importance.
Ooh, yes.
And you need to be on the higher end of that importance ladder. And then now you got the crabs in the bucket type thing.
Oh gosh. I have a video to talk about.
I
got a video, an old video that I'll talk about on the other side.
All right. It's Issues After Dark, episode 10, season 2. Donna Williams, Deion Evans. We'll be back.
This is Seth from Evans, and you are listening to Bitter Cut.
But I want you to know she's standing here singing the victory right now in Jesus' name. Because Jesus is all saint. Jesus is all. Come on, put your hands together. Come on. He's everything. He's everything that I hope for. He's everything that I need. When I am lonely, when I am lonely, He gives me comfort. When I am sad, I want to let you know, if I should fall and never leave, He lifts me up. And when I am empty, filled, He fills my cup down. Thinking about the time when I didn't have a dime. I thought if I could just get paid, just fine. But the money let me know, yes it did. It couldn't even buy me love. So I gave Jesus control of my life, and I'm really satisfied. Now I want to let you know. Don't get excited. How much money till you listen? If you want to know the deal, if you want to know, I'm telling you, Jesus, He's real. Because He woke me up this morning and started me on my way in. I need somebody that'll stand with me today, some brother, some sister, that'll clap your hands with us and just say, Jesus is all. Jesus is all. Come on. The world. He's everything. He's everything that I hope for. He's everything that I need. He's everything that I need. When I am lonely, see, He gives me comfort. When I am sad, I want to let you know, if I should fall, He'll never leave me. He lifts me up. And if I am high as hell, He fills my cup down. Without Jesus, face the day. without the Lord in my life. I don't wanna say, but I will say this: without my Savior in mind, all I would do is fail. I would be tossed and driven like a ship in a storm without a sail to my warning. No, don't get excited. Tell you this. And if you want another deal, you want to go. I'm telling you, Jesus, he's the real. See, he woke me up this morning and started me on my way. I've been a lot of places and I've seen a lot of things, but I want to let you know one thing. Don't get excited. And you say, I'm gonna tell you this. But if you want another deal, if you want to go, I'm telling you, Jesus, he's the real. See, when I was a wretched done, he looked beyond all my faults. Say, yeah, Jesus is all. Jesus is all to me. He's everything, saying, absolutely everything. See, you can drink from his well. That won't run dry, no, it won't say. Say, yeah, yeah, yeah. Jesus is all. Jesus is all to me. He's everything, saying, absolutely everything. Although he stretched his hand and died, he rose again with all power. Somebody get excited about that. Come on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Jesus is all. Jesus is all to me. He's everything. Absolutely everything.
You fall in love, simple. The sky up above, simple, is caving in. Wow! Never been so nuts about a guy you wanna love, you wanna cry, you cross your heart and hope to die till it's over, and then
It's nice and quiet. It's just that dark.
Oh gosh,
I like that crazy kid, Bjork.
I haven't seen her lately.
I haven't seen her either, but when I've seen her live performance of that particular song,
Oh yeah,
love it.
is she in the swan suit? Is she
Huh?
in the swan? Is she in the swan dress when she performs that song?
I think she was in a red dress.
Okay, she came.
Live
There
on,
was one time.
live on Jay Leno.
Yeah, she came out somewhere, and maybe when she just started in a swan dress.
Was that an award ceremony she did that at?
Yeah.
Yeah. When I saw her perform this song, I saw it on she was on Jay Leno. Yeah, it's pretty cool to see.
I'll have to look her up.
She had a entire band behind her, and she's just so animated. She's very animated.
Okay, I'll have to watch.
And I saw you watched the show The Voice.
From time to time, yeah.
There was a brother who covered this song, and he covered it like his voice is like what's the guy? Heidi, not Cab Calloway.
That's Cab Calloway.
What's the other? Who did Heidi ho?
That was Cab Calloway.
That's Cab Calloway.
Mm-hmm.
Who sings "What a Wonderful
Armstrong. Louis Armstrong. Yeah.
So he sang that song
Yeah.
like Louis Armstrong.
Oh wow.
He came out, he's like,
Yeah.
it's so quiet. It's so near. You know, you're all alone. He did a really good job with it. I was like, oh, that's different.
Yep.
But
Yep,
nothing but beats that little scrawny white girl. She is talented.
The scrawny white girl. Okay.
She's talented. She's got a lot. I like energy. She has more. You go see the live video of her on Jay Leno doing this song.
Yeah.
She's got more energy than Usher.
Okay, but yeah, there wasn't a lot of energy in that show last night for me.
Take
Again,
that.
it's a generational thing. That's a generational thing, maybe.
I think it was because I'm not mad at the people who liked it. I think you just like Usher.
But here's the thing.
Confessions, thinking something I'm gonna do. These are my confessions.
Oh God. See, but here's the thing. We talked last week about black men taking on characters wearing dresses in movies, and
yeah,
how in the lace top socks did Jermaine Dupri come out in Mary Jane's? Maybe they weren't Mary Jane's, and lace.
He said
socks.
they were. There's a close up of them. Let me see if I can find it while you're talking about it. There's supposed to be some high end socks.
They were high end socks when I wore them on Easter Sunday because you didn't get them every year. So they were high end. They were more expensive than the regular socks.
I'm just saying.
He's going to be a meme forever.
He wanted a certain look, I guess.
Yeah, well, he got one. He definitely got one.
I forget where there's some. If you go on Facebook, people are posting them socks all over the place.
Like I said, he's going to be a meme forever.
Yeah, you can't have no pearl in your. There it goes. Yeah, they are Louis Vuitton.
How dare you buy some socks like that from Louis Vuitton when you could have just gone? Well, maybe you can't buy them anymore. Maybe they don't sell them in the regular
Louis
stores.
Vuitton and some loafers. I would, Donna. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
If he was paid by Louis Vuitton to wear them on the Super Bowl.
To wear those socks.
Donna,
well, yeah, people.
23.4 million people watched the Super Bowl.
Oh, Louis Vuitton gonna make some money off those socks.
Louis Vuitton gonna make some money. Look, Donna, if just the 0.4 go out and buy the Louis Vuitton socks, that's how simple it is.
Deanna, if I see you in a pair of those socks, we're gonna have a conversation. That's all I got to say about that.
But guess what you having the conversation does?
What?
Forces somebody else to go look at those socks.
God.
And if 10 people go look at those socks, and 1 out of 10, 1 out of 100, if 1 out of 100 who watch the Super Bowl buy the socks, Louis Vuitton don't gotta sell nothing else. Thank you, Jermaine Dupri.
Oh, Lordy. Okay.
I'm just saying.
That was another news thing. The socks.
I did like the roller skates though. That was creative.
I missed that part. I got so bored with the show, I stopped looking at it.
Oh, see, now I started to do that, but then I knew I was going to talk trash, so I didn't want it to all of a sudden take a bump, and then I didn't know what was happening.
Yeah,
to me, it's up.
I like. I'm done. I'm done.
All right, let's go to segment 3, Black Invisibility.
Segment 3. Which one are we on?
Segment 3.
Okay. All right. So this is kind of my thing, having these kinds of conversations. And you were talking about the one-upmanship within the community. I'm better than you because. And it popped up. Yeah. It popped up on my, either on Instagram. I follow people who share Black history. They go back to history in times past. And they had a video. I don't know why Siri keeps popping on. They had a video of some African Americans in LA who were having this conversation. They were concerned. This is about 1963. They were concerned because there were so many Negroes coming from the South and moving to LA. And they were not our kind of people. Now, that's not what they said, but that's what they were saying. That they're coming in, they're coming from the country. They're bumpkins. They didn't say that, but that's what they meant. And we are different. They didn't say economically. They said sociologically. They were different from these people. And
these are Black people talking about Black people?
Yeah. I'm trying to find it. I can't find it. But I'm like, for real? This is 1963.
Donna.
And they were just upset with these country people moving to LA.
You know why that is?
Why?
Slavery worked.
There you go.
See, you and I can sit here and we can list all of the ills of the black community. And there's one answer for it all. Slavery worked.
Yeah.
I don't care what it is. Why are black men shooting black men?
Yeah.
Slavery worked.
Robbing black people.
Why are black people bipping cars in the black community?
Yeah.
Slavery worked. Why are black men abandoning their families and abandoning their children? Slavery worked.
So how do we counteract that? How do we strengthen the core of the community?
Now, see, here's where it gets difficult for me. Can you ask the slave? I'm talking about born in slavery, shaped in slavery.
Yeah.
Know nothing about freedom, even though slavery is no longer legal. How do you have that individual come up with the game plan for his own freedom? How do you that's like if you and I took newborn babies, 5 of them, and we left them in a house for 10 years, what would they be? That's what you're dealing with the slave. Yeah. How do you take people who were generationally born? They're not the first generation. They are the offsprings of perfected slaves.
Yeah.
And then you leave them to themselves with no, you leave them in a space with no resources, laws that don't interact properly, and you're asking these new thinkers to think about how to survive and how to live. How do you ask the slave to unslave itself?
That's Dr. DeGroo's premise. That's her entire premise. Generational trauma with no resources, no access to process the trauma. Mm-hmm. And here we are still, and Dr. Lakita kind of addressed this. We're still carrying our trauma. Yeah. We're still battling our trauma. We don't know we may not even recognize it as trauma.
And that's where you're thumping on. That's where I had to go. Some of us who've got some education and spent some time outside of the slave quarters, we have learned that there are other ways to exist. But we never evaluated those existing ways that we've learned. We just know that they're better than or appear to be better than the existence we have.
Right.
For instance, when I went to college, before I went to college, all I knew about work was with your hands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A roofer, construction, a farmer, mechanic, blue collar stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I go to college, I find out you can get a desk with a computer, and wear church clothes every day and get paid more money, and you wouldn't have to get nowhere near as dirty. Well, guess what I wanted to be? I want a white collar job because All I've seen black people doing. So success for me is a white collar job.
Yeah.
Who's there to walk me through what I'm thinking about at that time? Nobody. It's the offspring of a slave trying to understand this new environment he sees based on the environment he knows, and he's making choices that aren't balanced out. So now, young black man wants to be a white collar, and he's doing everything, all to find out that an assistant administrator at a desk answering phone calls and punching keyboards is an administrative assistant. And though it pays good money and you don't have to get dirty like a roofer or somebody who pours concrete, you don't have any independence.
No.
You don't own nothing. Somebody's still telling you what to do. You are yet still a slave.
And yet there are people that come into the country that take those blue collar jobs.
Don't say
work
take.
hard.
Don't say take.
I know when I say take, I don't mean like take. I mean like accept.
I'm just saying we gotta be careful. We can't say take.
Yeah. Okay. They accept those blue collar jobs, and they thrive working those blue collar jobs. Why is that? Because they are processing. Okay, what I didn't have over there, I can have over here, but not just for me, but for my family, for my community.
Donna, when is the last time in the Bay Area you seen a non-Hispanic crew putting down the new curves on the street? I ain't seen it. Everywhere in East Oakland, where they're putting brand new curves during the school by the schools and the new handicap ramps and the yellow installments so that people know that they're going from the curve to the street, and they're putting the lines in the street. Every crew will be 90% Hispanic. And if you out there while they're working, you won't hear a lick of English.
It's almost in every blue collar venue that there's been contractors that came in, and while the boss, the contractor, may not have been Hispanic, the workers were. And my question is, where did they learn these skills? How did they become so skilled at all of this?
Donna, because in people of color, those skills are natural. Remember, here's the power of people of color. We never enslaved anybody to do the work we couldn't do.
Yeah.
So we had to do the work ourselves.
Exactly.
If you wanted to build a house, you could buy land. But if you wanted to build a house, you had to learn how to do the framing yourself. And maybe you had an uncle or you had a nephew or you had another deacon down the street who had these skills, and y'all came together and you used those skills because you could not go buy a white guy or enslave a white dude to do it.
Which goes back to the enslavement of African Americans. They were brought over to do the work because the colonists that had come over were not farmers. They were not agricultural. They were not carpenters. They couldn't do the work. They didn't know how to grow they didn't know how to work with the rice. They had no clue. So they brought over a people who had those skills, stole them, kidnapped them, brought them over to do what they could not do.
Not only that, Donna, they brought them over to do what they did excellent for currency that could hold up their families. But they were forced to do it for nothing, for people who would beat them to get the work done. Now I'm generationally born in this system, right?
Yep.
Now what I am God gifted to do, right? I see it as a form of punishment for slavery.
Yeah.
What do I want to be? I want to be free like the slave master. What I don't know, because all I've seen is hard work be punished for other people. What I don't know is being like the slave master is to be lazy and without skill. But by the time I learned that lesson, that I'm on the wrong side of the focus, I don't even have the finances to now go back and gather the skill that I left. I don't have the finances to find somebody to build what I've built. And slavery is no longer legal. So I can't go round up a bunch of little blonde haired, blue eyed dudes and force them to build me a house. How can the slave fix his slavery? How can you ask the slave to fix his slavery?
Especially when you step into this new world and you don't see it as enslavement at all. Yeah. You see it as advancement. You see it as a step up. You see it as having stepped into a venue that was previously denied to you. But here's the challenge. Now you have to prove yourself, which is a form of enslavement.
To who?
You must prove yourself to the white person, to the boss, to the supervisor, that you can do the work. Right.
So now what are you doing?
Now you're once again, you're trapped into a system that demands of you. And more than likely, you're not being paid what your counterpart is being paid. Who's
never. Oh, never.
And so there you are in this same situation that you are trying to escape. But now you find yourself in this situation where, wait a minute, I'm no longer tethered to a chain, but I'm tethered to a desk. I'm tethered to a report. I'm tethered to the expectations of the other people who can manipulate me any way they like, because I have to be there. I am not chained to this thing.
Donna, did you notice that the 49ers did something very nice to their employees?
What did they do?
They put them all on a plane and flew them to Las Vegas for the Super Bowl.
Nice.
Must have been about 200 to 300 people on that plane.
Nice.
And flew them all to the Super Bowl.
Very nice.
Did the owner fly on that plane?
I don't know.
Did the GM fly on that plane?
Or were they on private jets?
You get my point.
Yeah.
My point is, you can get the desk job. You can do the work that doesn't require you to use your hands and get dirty. But in the end, all you're going to be is still sardine packed with a group of other people appearing to have benefits. But the person who signs that check, they will have what all of you get together, they will have for themselves.
And you're still giving side eye to the person next to you who looks like you. Because now you're in competition with each other. Yeah. You're in competition with each other now.
And who told you were in competition with each other?
I did. We did.
So all you're trying to do is move from row 31A. You're just trying to move up to row 25C. Again, I asked the question, Donna.
Yeah.
How does the slave, the descendant of slaves, those born and shaped in slavery, who has the gall to expect them to heal themselves, to fix the slavery that fixed them?
Yeah.
We'll talk about it on the other side of the break. Donna Williams, Dion Evans, Issues After Dark, episode 10.
The dream is fading now, I'm staring at the door. I know it's over cause my feet have hit the cold floor. Check my reflection, I ain't feeling what I see. It's no mystery. Whatever happened to a passion I can live for? What became of the flame that made me feel more? And when did I forget that I was made to love you. I was made to find you. I was made just for you. Made to adore you. I was made to love and be loved by you. You were here for me. You were waiting on me. And you said you keep me. Never would you leave me. I was made to love and be loved by you. The dream's alive with my eyes open wide. Like in the wind, you got me singing for the grand ride. I feel the haters spitting vapors on my dreams, but I still believe. I'm reaching out, reaching up, reaching over. I feel the breeze cover me, come Jehovah. And daddy, I'm on my way, 'cause I was making love. I was made to love you, I was made to find you, I was made just for you, made to adore you. I was made to love, I was made to love and be loved by you. You were here before me, you were waiting on me, and you said you keep me, never would you leave me. I was made to love and be loved by you. I was made to love. Just for you, made to adore you. I was made to love, be loved by you. You were here before me, you were waiting on me. You said you keep me, never would you leave me. I was made to love, be loved by you. Na 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 na. Anything I would give up for you. Everything I give it all away. Anything I would give up for you. Everything I give it all away. Anything I would give up for you. Give it all away. Oh yeah.
Issues After Dark, Season 2, Episode 10. Donna, I just saw something funny on Twitter.
What?
On X.
Yes.
You told me that they paid Beyonce $30 million for Verizon.
Mm-hmm.
You know how they have those reality TV shows where black women be getting into fights? They be picking up throwing glasses on each other.
Yeah.
Drinks. There's just one of these black women who are picking up glasses and throwing them at each other and spilling drinks all over each other. And it's like, Verizon gonna pay Beyonce $30 million and gonna harass me about a phone bill.
True that. They're gonna harass you too because they gotta make their money back.
Right.
So funny. That
I got a comment here. It comes to us from Mary Beckworth. You know, she was on the viral broadcast we did on
Hood Food.
She says Albert and I discuss this topic often, and our conclusion is that white people are intimidated by us because they try to be like us, adding lips and bottoms, imitating who we are naturally. They ignore us because the world has told them that they are superior despite their status, and they stand on that superiority.
Yep.
She sparked something. I've never thought this thought before. Let me tell you what she wrote here. They ignore us because the world has told them that they are superior. Who is this world that told white people they are superior? You know who it was?
Who?
Themselves.
Oh yeah.
They told white people in this country have told themselves they are superior so long. They've been telling themselves they are superior as long as they have been enslaving black people.
Oh yeah, they had to. You cannot admit. But here's the thing. You can't admit humanity in a people that you are devaluing. And someone raised the question about if we are not human, if we are less than, explain to us why you allowed Black women to raise and nurse your children. Yet you say
you know what my
that
thoughts
we're
are.
not. No, I don't think I even want to
There's
go there.
There's a history of white men and animals, so I don't want to. I don't want to go there.
Yeah, no, we don't want to go.
History.
We don't want to get into bestiality.
No, we don't want to get into that.
Yeah, but it's the whole idea. Less than.
Now, here's the thing. For as long as Black people have been told they were slaves and enslaved and forced to be slave and mentally broken till they operated as slaves, the masters have been telling themselves they're superior. And actually, imagine if you're white. I'm not talking about the original slaves and original slave owners. I'm not talking about them. But once you get it institutionalized, and we're now in the third generation, right?
The system.
The original slave masters knew they weren't superior. And the original slaves knew they were not inferior, nor were they slaves.
Right.
They were forced into slavery. But now keep that system up for 50 years. And now you have a generation born into the system. That's all they know.
Yeah.
And you have white children who are born into the system of superiority. Mm-hmm. It don't take but a couple of decades to make sure that one group totally knows this is who you are, and a different group believe the opposite. Now, multiply that by a couple of 100 years.
Yeah.
And you're asking the end of slavery, whenever you want to say that is, we haven't had, let's say it's 1864, that's the Emancipation Proclamation, where it's supposed to be,
63.
Right?
Yeah, it didn't free any slaves.
63?
Yeah.
We still haven't eclipsed the amount of time slavery exists. We haven't even equaled that yet in years.
No.
What would be the time frame on that? If we believe, hold on, let's do the math. So if we believe that slavery started in
1619,
Jamestown, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was 1863.
Emancipation Proclamation. Civil War ended in 1865.
4, that's 264 years.
But the Civil War didn't end until 1865.
So add 2 years.
Yeah.
Let's just round it up to 250. Let's add the Jim Crow era, although you won't get all of it.
No.
250.
Yeah.
So from the time that we can document slavery to the time that we can document the end of slavery, 250 years.
How about that?
Okay. So let's say 1865, the end of the Civil War. Correct?
Yeah.
Let's add 250 years, 9, 10, 11, 2115.
Yeah.
2115. What year are we in?
2024.
2024?
Yeah.
1, 0. We still have 91 years before the documented time of slavery will have been the documented time of illegal to be
freedom. Yeah. Yeah.
We still got 91. Donna. Our children's children might be alive in 2115.
Might. I don't know when we will see the shift.
Here's the thing.
I won't see it in my lifetime.
People say that all the time. When will we see the shift? When you say not you in particular, but I need you to help me wrestle with this. When you hear a person say, well, when will we see change? How many years are we talking about? Do you know how many years we're talking about need to be changed? 250 years, Donna.
Yeah.
We are right now living in the gut of change with no answers.
That's the challenge. I number one, our community, quote unquote, and it may sound like a cliche, needs healing. It truly does. We need to understand that generational thing. And some say it's even embedded in our DNA, that trauma is embedded in DNA. There's a theory out there that trauma is embedded in DNA. I looked up Dr. DeGroo's definition of post-traumatic slave syndrome: multi-generational trauma together with continued oppression and absence of opportunity to access the benefits available in the society. Trauma after trauma after trauma, continued oppression, no opportunity to access the benefits available to them in this society. And it is no longer a physical enslavement, it is a systemic enslavement. The rules, the policies, all of those things in place to keep African Americans, I know we say BIPOC now. I don't like BIPOC because it throws everyone's experience into one basket.
BIPOC?
Black, indigenous people of color.
Man, just say black people.
Yeah, because BIPOC mixes everyone's experience together, and then you get stuff thrown. Yeah, I don't use it. I don't care for it.
BIPOC sounds like the people who like the rhythm, but they don't like the blues. They don't want to admit both truths. Here's what you said, Donna. Trauma is embedded in our DNA.
Yeah.
And you said that's what Dr. DeGroo.
No. There's another theory out there. She says that it's multi-generational, with oppression, with no access to the benefits of the society.
Right. In the end, the idea is trauma is embedded in our DNA.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. If trauma is embedded in our DNA, and I have no doubt it's true, then superiority is embedded in their DNA.
Absolutely.
You can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
If trauma is embedded in our DNA, then the idea of superiority is embedded in their DNA. So you know what that brings us to, Donna?
What?
It brings us to what many have been wanting to stay away from: a race war. Until black people violently engage the superiority mindset of white people, they're not going to wake up. You see these videos, these Karens, these Kens.
Yeah.
And they be out there calling black people out their name, and they be out there. They can be drunk. They can be whatever, but they're surrounded by black people, and they're just being totally disrespectful to black people without a thought, of what they're doing. And a black woman will come up and slap that white woman in her face. And what does that white woman realize? When I see a black woman walk up and slap the spit out of that white girl's mouth, that white girl knows at that particular moment, I'm not as superior as I thought I was. She struck me, and I don't have the guts to strike her back.
She struck me, and in spite of my superiority.
She struck me, and my superiority has now been shaken.
Yeah.
And here's what's sad for me, and this is what's counter to the gospel. Black people cannot please God by acting out in violence against white people.
Right.
That would not be the will of God. But at what point is it the will of God versus a God? You got to, that's all they know. See, that's the problem with the black community is our understanding of God's expectation. Isn't it amazing that you could have a slave mentality about yourself and your people, yet a correct biblical context about God? Think about that for a minute.
Oh my goodness.
Think about that for a minute.
So why don't you see the contradiction?
You have no, as a people group, you have no real context of who you are, what you are, how to go. The slave is hard for the slave to unslave itself. The same slave who cannot unslave himself has a biblical understanding of Jesus.
If the Son therefore shall make you free.
And yet, though we know that scripture and know what that scripture means, we still don't know how to use it to free ourselves. And guess what else?
What?
And white people aren't going to assist.
Yeah.
There are white people saved by the blood of Jesus.
Absolutely.
Same Jesus, same blood.
Absolutely.
Who also know he in whom the Son sets free is free indeed. And yet, for some reason, they cannot seem to see that scripture as true beyond people who look like them.
Yeah.
And if they do see it for people beyond themselves, they see it only because they are the white person in their lives. Crazy.
Going way back, at one time, the freedmen, the African enslaved, freed, began to bond with the poor white community, began to build alliances. And the former slave owners said, oh, no, we cannot have this. Right. So what they began to build into the poor white was the idea, not economics, but superiority as a white person. And that broke that alliance because suddenly they bought into it. Now they still look down today, white trash, poor white trash, but they're better than we are.
It don't matter if white people see other white people as poor white trash. The poor white trash have rights that the slaves can't walk in.
Exactly.
And poor whites weren't enslaved. They weren't robbed of their nation. They weren't robbed of their families.
Right.
They weren't robbed. They were just not given the same benefits of those who started the whole superiority complex. Issues After Dark, Donna and Dion. We'll be back after this break.
An olive has to go through 3 stages for its oil to run. It has to go through the shaking, the beating, and the pressing. And just like the olive, some of you may have felt like you go through the shaking, the beating, and the pressing. You went through all of that for your oil to flow. Now your greater is coming. If it had not been for the shaking, I never would have been ready for the making. No. If it had not been for the beating, I would have never knew how anointed I would be. Oh yeah. If it had not been for the pressing, I wouldn't be able to walk into my destiny. He's preparing me, preparing me, preparing me for greater. I feel a shaking in the spirit. I feel a beating in the spirit. Oh, I feel a pressing in the spirit. He's allowing me to grow. He's preparing me for my greater. I feel a shaking in the spirit. I feel a beating. I feel a pressing. It's preparing me for greater. Yes, he is. I feel a shaking. Oh, yes. So do I feel a beating. I feel a
Issues After Dark, episode 10, season 2.
Yeah.
Donna Williams, your host. Deanna Evans, your co-host. We got another message from text. Another good comment area I think you're going to really like and really dive into. I'll read it and you can take it where you want to take it.
Okay.
She says, this is Mary Beckworth out of Memphis, Tennessee. She says, black on black crime goes back to hood meals. Back then, we made a way out of no way because we saw hard work pay off. Making a way out of no way was watered down because we stopped pushing working hard to achieve and start giving just because, to prove to others our worth through materialism. They don't want their children to work hard, and that thinking messed up the black community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You tease me a lot about being raised in the Jim Crow South, Dion, but it was being raised in that cocoon where you were expected to excel. And it didn't matter what your intellect might be, whether we didn't know any special needs people in our community. Everyone just you kind of knew, some not quite 100 there, but they were also expected to rise to the level of their competence, of their personal best. They were pushed to excellence. That was the advantage of being raised in a segregated community. We were all we had.
Donna, let me tell you something. I may make fun of you out of just making fun, having fun about Jim Crow South. I believe it was safer and better than what we're dealing with now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we didn't always get along, but there was none of this.
It's funny that you bring this up. What could possibly help turn this wheel is not legal segregation, but in these pockets of communities where we happen to be segregated, make it work. Stop bringing people. Stop bringing people, politicians who do not represent the community. Stop spending money with companies that do not invest in the community.
Exactly.
But then that means we need a whole different type of politician. We need community-minded people. We don't need people who need to see it as they're just trying to arise to a slave position. That's the problem with today's church. Today's church is really white slave pastors preaching through black men. When you listen to a lot of these pop gospel sermons, it's really about, these are the same type of sermon points that white slave masters used on their black congregants. The message hasn't changed for the most part. It's just switched color. It's crazy.
We need to form an alliance with ourselves.
Again,
we don't have alliances with ourselves.
How does the slave build an alliance with himself?
Right.
This is a messed up situation.
Yeah, it is.
And understand, we still have 91 more years to have the same amount of time of legal freedom as there was legal slavery.
Yeah.
Donna, 91 more. Donna, in 91
Any more
years.
Yes.
What conversations of Langston Hughes are still going forward? What conversations? What conversations of Fannie Lou Hamer?
Sick and tired of being sick and
Are
tired.
going forward.
Yeah.
Martin Luther King is still celebrated, but it ain't the Martin Luther King that's being celebrated. They have relegated Dr. Martin Luther King to I Have a Dream.
Yeah.
You know nothing about, his message on technology and what it has done, how man has technologically advanced, but still morally bankrupt. He talks about 256 denominations, and all of them believe that they are the sole truth of God's word. How many have heard his message about the Apostle Paul, and if the Apostle Paul was to write to the American church, what the Apostle Paul might say to the American church? How many people have heard that message? All they know is I have a dream, and barely that.
Well, you know why they don't I Have a Dream? Because it's touted. That's the piece that is brought to the forefront all the time.
When you say
no other names.
Who's the they that touted?
The powers that be, the white folks.
Watch this,
in
Donna.
Power.
Watch this.
What?
You gonna be mad at me.
What?
If white folks didn't push forward I Have a Dream by Dr. King, black people would know nothing about Dr. King.
Oh gosh. Listen, that's all they know is Dr. King and Rosa Parks.
Want me to prove it? White folks don't say nothing about Malcolm X.
Nope.
How many black people know anything really about Malcolm? You got to really be into your history. You trying to escape the slave mentality to have read the autobiography of Malcolm X. I ain't talking about watch the movie by Spike Lee, although good. To read the autobiography of Malcolm X, to understand who he really was. I remember when I started reading the autobiography of Malcolm X, my mom questioned me why, because her idea was he was a violent man.
Because
I had to circle back. Mom, he wasn't violent. She lived as a young adult during the time of Malcolm X, and what she came away with was he's a violent man.
Because
Truth
he
is,
spoke
you didn't have Malcolm X, Martin Luther King would have been shot and killed much earlier.
Well, he spoke what we were afraid to accept. We were afraid of the rhetoric that Malcolm X brought to the forefront because it demanded of us to take action by any means necessary. And we were afraid because after
we reserve
all,
our right to be respected as a man, to be treated as a human being on this earth, on this day, in this society. And we intend to bring this into existence by any means necessary.
And that scared not only white people, it scared black people.
And it scared black people more because they were the ones who were like, oh, no, we got to run to Martin. He's nonviolent. Mary Beckworth. Yeah. It can start in the family if we would all just get along. Ooh, Absolutely. That last part is what killed it.
Yeah.
It can start in the family. Why can't we just have a period right there?
Yeah.
I love it, Mary. Why can't there just be a period? Also want to acknowledge Ronald Simpson has some comments here. Ronald has a lot of YouTube links that he has dropped, and I have to go back and look at those because those won't show up.
Right.
They won't. They'll show up in the comments like this, but they're not clickable.
They won't show up as links.
But in the comment section later on, you should be able to click them and see what he put in there, and in the time frame what we're talking about.
Yeah.
He did share this though. Race is a construct.
Yeah. Sure it is.
The race of free land and free slaves.
The race for free land and free slaves. Right.
The race for free land and free slaves. Yeah.
They had to have that line of demarcation in order to say that we are better than the other person. To link to Mary's comment, I've always said, while we are waiting for history to be taught in our schools and to be brought to the forefront, why aren't we learning our own history and sharing it to take the shame out of our history, because if our ancestors had not persisted and survived, we would not be here today.
Donna,
if they had not dealt with,
we're waiting on people to tell us what we can learn about ourselves.
No.
Donna,
get in there and get it yourself.
What is Florida about? AP, African American Studies?
Yeah.
That ain't a bunch of black people getting together to talk about what we gonna learn and teach our kids.
Right.
We waiting.
Why
until
are we waiting? Stop waiting.
You can't. The slave can't do it on his own. Final comment. Let's get up out of here.
I knew hair was going to lead into a way different kind of conversation, but I think it's one that we as a community should be having among ourselves and not waiting to be given permission to have the conversation.
I like it, Donna. Hair is important to these conversations because it is in the hair shop, barber shop, that a lot of the conversations take place that can make a difference.
Yep.
Good night. God bless.
You have been listening to Issues After Dark with Donna Williams and Dion Evans. Follow updates regarding Issues After Dark on Bitter Cup Media. Follow Bitter Cup Media on your favorite social media platform. Listen live each night, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Join the conversations and please ensure your support. Donations to support this broadcast can be sent to Cash App, Venmo, or Zelle at Bitter Cup Media. And as our hosts would say, good night and God bless you.
Good evening. I'm Carol Mayete from that OAKLAND, and you're listening to Issues After Dark with Donna and Dion.
Thank you for tuning in to Bitter Cup Media for your broadcast news. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Search Bitter Cup Media. Tell a friend, coworker, or family member to join you in listening to our cutting-edge radio broadcast. Remember this, even if our hearts condemn us, God is greater than our hearts, and He knows all things. Bitter Cup Media, signing off.